You ever notice how the calmest person in the room is usually the most dangerous? They don't raise their voice, they don't explain themselves, they don't react, and that terrifies people, because when someone can't read you, they can't control you, and when they can't control you, they lose their power over you completely. Right now, someone is testing you. Maybe it's through silence, maybe it's through guilt. Maybe they're watching how fast you text back, how much you chase, how quickly you break. They're collecting data on your emotions like it's currency. And the moment you react, the moment you lose your cool, you've just handed them the blueprint to your mind. See, most people think power comes from being the loudest, the smartest, or the most aggressive. But Machiavelli understood something darker. Real power comes from being psychologically untouchable. It's not about what you do. It's about what people can't do to you. It's about becoming so internally fortified that manipulation bounces off you like rain off stone. That's what it means to be psychologically dangerous. This isn't about being cold or emotionless. It's about transforming yourself into someone who can't be played, can't be predicted, and can't be broken. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how to build that version of yourself. So if you're tired of feeling like a puppet in someone else's game, stay with me. Drop this in the comments right now. I am psychologically untouchable. Let me tell you something most people never realize. Manipulation doesn't look like manipulation. It never does. It walks in disguised as love, as concern, as friendship, as loyalty. The most dangerous traps are the ones that feel like safety. And by the time you realize what's happening, you're already caught. Here's how it works. Someone gets close to you. They study you, not overtly, but subtly. They notice what makes you angry, what makes you feel guilty, what makes you soft. They're building a psychological profile without you even knowing it. Then, one day, they use it. You pull away and suddenly you're the bad guy. You set a boundary and suddenly you've changed. You prioritize yourself and suddenly you're selfish. That's not a conversation. That's a script. And you're being directed. The weapon they love most is guilt. Guilt is invisible control. They'll say things like, "I thought you were different," or "You've really changed, haven't you?" Those aren't observations. They're emotional landmines designed to make you doubt your own strength, to pull you back into the version of yourself that was easier for them to manage. Because the truth is, they don't miss the old you. They miss the controllable you. Here's what Machiavelli knew that most people don't. Men are driven by two primary forces, fear and self-interest. Manipulators weaponize both. They make you afraid of losing them, afraid of being alone, afraid of being the villain, and they make it seem like keeping them happy is in your best interest. That's the trap. They tie your emotional state to their approval, and once that connection is made, they own you. But here's the part that'll change everything. Manipulators are terrified of calm people, because calm can't be controlled. Anger, predictable, sadness, exploitable, desperation, easy. But calm is a mirror. And when you stop reacting, they're forced to see themselves. That's why they panic when you go quiet. That's why they escalate when you detach. Your silence exposes their strategy. Let me be clear. When you start to feel heavy after talking to someone, when conversations leave you drained instead of energized, that's not coincidence. That's extraction. They're feeding off your emotional reactions like a parasite feeds off a host. And the moment you cut off that supply, they'll try everything to reconnect it. They'll fake vulnerability. They'll play the victim. They'll promise change. But it's all bait to pull you back into emotional dependency. The only way out is awareness. Once you see the pattern, once you recognize the script, the power shifts. You stop being a participant and become an observer. You watch their moves without absorbing their energy. You let their manipulation echo into your calm. And when you do that, when you refuse to give them the reaction they need, you starve them of control. That's how you win. Not by fighting back, but by refusing to play. So here's your first rule. Protect your emotions like they're classified information. Not everyone deserves access. Some people only get close so they can weaponize what they find. The moment you make your inner world off limits to manipulators, you become untouchable. Drop this in the comments. I see through manipulation. Now let's talk about something uncomfortable. Emotion is weakness. I know that sounds harsh, but stay with me. I'm not saying don't feel. I'm saying don't let your feelings run you. Because every time your emotions dictate your actions, you become predictable. And predictable people get controlled, exploited, and discarded. Look around. The people who dominate in life, in business, in relationships, they're not the most emotional. They're the most controlled. They feel anger, but don't explode. They feel fear, but don't freeze. They feel desire, but don't chase. That gap between feeling and action, that's where power lives. That's the space most people never learn to master. Machiavelli said it centuries ago. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. He wasn't talking about being cruel. He was talking about dependency. When people love you, they expect softness. When they fear you, they expect unpredictability. And unpredictability creates hesitation. Hesitation creates space. And space is control. Here's the brutal truth. Your sadness is someone's leverage. Your anger is someone's victory. Your guilt is someone's chain. Every unchecked emotion is a weakness someone will exploit. Not because people are evil, but because human nature is opportunistic. We test boundaries. We push buttons. And when we find one that works, we press it again and again until it stops working. Think about the last time you lost your temper. What did it cost you? Respect? A relationship? Your own peace of mind? Now think about the last time you stayed calm under pressure. How did that feel? Powerful, right? Because restraint is dominance. Silence is strength. And the ability to feel everything while showing nothing is the ultimate psychological weapon. This doesn't mean you become a robot. It means you become selective. You feel deeply, but privately. You care intensely, but strategically. You let your emotions inform your decisions, not dictate them. That's the difference between being human and being weak. Weakness is letting every emotion spill out for the world to see and use. Strength is processing everything internally and acting with precision. The strongest people you've ever met. They're not unfeeling. They're disciplined. They've trained themselves to pause, to breathe, to assess before they react. And that training makes them unreadable. You can't predict their next move because their emotions don't telegraph their intentions. They've created a fortress between what they feel and what they show. And that fortress is what makes them psychologically dangerous. So ask yourself this: are your emotions serving you, or are they serving everyone who knows how to trigger them? Because the moment you answer that honestly, you'll understand why emotional control isn't optional. It's survival. Drop this affirmation. My emotions serve me. Let's get something straight. Being psychologically dangerous doesn't mean you're aggressive, cold, or intimidating. It means you're unreadable. It means people can push your buttons all day and get nothing. No outburst, no explanation, no visible crack. And that ambiguity? That's what makes you dangerous. Because people fear what they can't predict. Think about the most powerful people you know. Not the loudest, not the most liked. The ones who command respect without demanding it. What do they all have in common? Composure. They move through chaos like it's background noise. Insults don't land. Manipulation doesn't stick. Drama doesn't pull them in. Why? Because they've mastered the art of internal control. And once you control yourself, no one else can. Here's what that looks like in practice. Someone insults you. You smile. Someone tries to guilt trip you. You stay quiet. Someone demands an explanation. You give none. Not because you're hiding, but because you understand that reaction is surrender. The moment you defend yourself, you've accepted their frame. The moment you explain, you've validated their right to question you. But when you stay silent, when you remain calm, you force them to sit in their own discomfort. And discomfort is control. Machiavelli understood this. He said men judge more by appearances than by reality. Most people see your calm and assume strength. They see your silence and assume confidence. They see your restraint and assume danger. And they're right. Because the person who doesn't need to prove themselves is the person who has nothing to prove. That's power. Being psychologically dangerous also means you've trained your triggers. Everyone has them. The difference is, dangerous people know theirs. They've mapped their weaknesses, studied their reactions, and neutralized them. So when someone tries to provoke them, it's like watching someone push a button that's been disconnected. Nothing happens. The manipulator stands there confused, frustrated, powerless, because the reaction they expected never comes. This is why the calmest people are the scariest. Not because they don't feel, but because they've learned to weaponize restraint. Their silence becomes pressure. Their stillness becomes tension. Their composure becomes intimidation. And all of it happens without a single word. That's the essence of psychological danger. You're not a threat because of what you do. You're a threat because of what no one can do to you. You also stop needing validation. That's huge. Most people are slaves to approval. They need likes, compliments, agreement, acceptance. And that need makes them controllable. But when you stop caring whether people understand you, agree with you, or even like you, you become free. You operate from a place of internal authority. Your decisions aren't swayed by opinions. Your mood isn't dictated by treatment. Your worth isn't determined by perception. You just are. And that self-sufficiency is terrifying to people who rely on external validation to function. Here's the final piece. Psychologically dangerous people are always 3 steps ahead. They don't just react to situations. They anticipate them. They read the room before entering it. They sense manipulation before it's deployed. They recognize patterns in behavior that most people miss. And because they see the game being played, they can choose whether to play, how to play, or to walk away entirely. That foresight is what separates the controlled from the controllers. So if you want to be psychologically dangerous, start here. Stop explaining yourself. Stop defending your choices. Stop reacting to provocation. Let your calm do the talking. Let your silence create the mystery. Let your restraint build the reputation. Because once people realize they can't get to you, they stop trying. And when they stop trying, you've won. Drop this in the comments. I control my inner storm. Now let's make this practical. You can understand all of this intellectually, but if you can't apply it, it's worthless. So here are the 5 steps to real emotional control. These aren't theory. These are battlefield tactics for your mind. Step 1. Pause before you react. This is the most important skill you'll ever learn. Every single time you feel the urge to respond immediately, to defend, to attack, to explain, stop. Count to 5. Breathe. Let the impulse pass. Because that impulse, that's your weakness trying to surface. And the moment you act on it, you've lost. The pause is your defense. It gives you time to think instead of feel. It forces you to choose your response instead of being controlled by your reaction. Manipulators rely on immediate responses. They want you triggered. They want you emotional. They want you sloppy. The pause destroys their strategy. It unsettles them, and it protects you. Step 2. Replace emotion with strategy. Every time you feel anger, fear, guilt, or desperation, ask yourself one question. What's the smartest move right now? Not the most satisfying, not the most honest, the smartest. This question shifts your brain from reactive to tactical. It turns emotion into information. You're no longer being controlled by how you feel. You're using how you feel to make better decisions. That's the difference between weakness and power. Weak people are controlled by emotion. Powerful people are informed by it. Step 3. Train your triggers. Sit down and write out everything that destabilizes you. Criticism, rejection, silence, disrespect, being ignored. Whatever it is, name it. Then, mentally rehearse your calm response. Visualize someone doing that thing to you and see yourself staying composed. This is mental conditioning. You're rewiring your brain to associate triggers with control instead of chaos. Over time, those buttons stop working, not because you don't care, but because you've trained yourself not to react. That's mastery. Step 4. Control your face, body, and tone. Emotions leak through micro-expressions, a twitch, a shift in posture, a change in tone. People read these signals subconsciously and use them to gauge your state. So practice neutrality. Keep your face relaxed. Keep your body still. Keep your tone even. Don't let your external state reflect your internal one. This isn't lying. This is strategy. You're controlling what information you give away, and the less they can read you, the less they can manipulate you. Step 5. Say less than necessary. Words are ammunition. Every extra sentence you speak is another chance for someone to twist your meaning, find a weakness, or bait you into more explanation. So be precise, be brief, be final. Silence is not emptiness, it's gravity. It pulls focus, it creates discomfort. And discomfort is your weapon. The less you say, the more weight your words carry, and the more space you create for others to reveal themselves. Now here's the critical part. These 5 steps are not one-time actions. They're daily practices. Every single day, someone will test you. Every single day, you'll face a situation designed to break your calm. And every single day, you have to choose discipline over impulse. That's the work. That's the price of being psychologically dangerous. But the payoff? Total freedom. Because once you master these steps, no one can touch you. You become a fortress, unshakable, unreachable, untouchable. Drop this in the comments. I act with calm power. Let's go deeper. You need to build a psychological fortress. Most people leave their minds wide open. Every insult, every opinion, every emotional attack just walks right in and sets up camp. But not you. You're going to build walls so strong that nothing gets through without your permission. The first layer is awareness. You have to know what's yours and what's not. Not every comment deserves space in your head. Not every criticism deserves consideration. Not every attack deserves a response. Awareness is the filter. It's the guard at the gate deciding what enters and what gets turned away. Train yourself to ask, does this serve me? If the answer is no, it doesn't get in. The second layer is detachment. This is your moat. It keeps threats at a distance. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care selectively. You can observe manipulation without absorbing it. You can witness chaos without joining it. You can see people's games without playing them. This distance is protection. It ensures that external drama never becomes internal crisis. The third layer is discipline. This is your foundation. Without discipline, everything collapses. Discipline is what makes you pause when you want to explode. It's what keeps you silent when you want to defend. It's what makes you walk away when you want to engage. Discipline is the daily choice to prioritize long-term power over short-term satisfaction. And every time you choose discipline, your fortress gets stronger. The fourth layer is self-respect. This is the law of your fortress. You have to value your peace above anyone's approval. You have to value your clarity above anyone's opinion. You have to value your control above anyone's validation. Self-respect is what makes your boundaries non-negotiable. It's what makes you willing to walk away from anyone who tries to breach your walls. Without self-respect, your fortress is just decoration. The fifth layer is resilience. No fortress is immune to siege. Life will test you. People will attack. Situations will pressure you. Resilience is what allows you to take the hit, assess the damage, and reinforce immediately. Pain becomes data. Betrayal becomes education. Pressure becomes training. You don't crumble. You adapt. You rebuild. You get stronger. Inside this fortress, you are sovereign. Outside there's chaos, manipulation, noise, drama. But inside, you decide what matters. You decide who influences you. You decide what breaks through and what bounces off. That's true power, not controlling others. Controlling yourself so completely that no one else can. And here's what people don't tell you. Once you build this fortress, you'll notice something. People will test it. They'll push harder. They'll escalate. They'll try new tactics. Why? Because your calm threatens their control. Your boundaries expose their manipulation. Your detachment reveals their desperation. They need you reactive. They need you emotional. They need you accessible. And when you're not, they panic. Let them. Their panic is proof that your fortress works. This is lifelong work. Every day, you reinforce. Every interaction you practice. Every test you pass. And over time, your fortress becomes so strong that attacks don't even register anymore. You see them coming and you watch them dissolve against your walls. That's when you know you've made it. That's when you've become psychologically untouchable. Drop this affirmation. My mind is untouchable. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Maintaining power is harder than gaining it. You can have one good week, one strong moment, one disciplined day. But the real test is consistency. Can you stay calm when provoked every single day? Can you stay detached when people pull at your emotions constantly? Can you maintain your fortress when life keeps sending battering rams? This is where most people fail. They get disciplined for a moment, then slip back into reaction. They build boundaries, then let someone guilt them into lowering them. They master their triggers, then let one bad day undo months of progress. Power requires maintenance. Every single day, no exceptions. Here's how you do it. First, observation. You have to stay alert. Notice patterns in people's behavior. Notice when someone's testing you. Notice when manipulation is happening. The moment you stop paying attention, you become vulnerable. Awareness is a muscle. Use it daily, or it atrophies. Second, restraint. Every day you'll be tempted to react. Someone will say something, do something, ignore something, and your instinct will be to respond immediately. Resist that instinct. Every withheld reaction is a victory. Every moment of silence is strength. Every time you don't take the bait, you reinforce your power. Third, detachment. You have to remain emotionally independent. No one should have the ability to dictate your mood, your focus, or your decisions. You can interact without being owned. You can care without being controlled. You can connect without being dependent. That independence is what keeps you free. Fourth, continual reinforcement. Every day, review your triggers, review your boundaries, review your discipline. Where did you slip? Where did you hold strong? What needs to be tightened? This isn't paranoia. This is maintenance. Champions review game footage. You review your mental and emotional performance. That's how you improve. Machiavelli said it is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. The same applies here. When someone tries to manipulate you and fails, when they try to provoke you and get nothing, when they try to control you and hit a wall, that's victory. Not because you hurt them, but because you protected yourself. And over time, people learn. They learn you're not a target. They learn manipulation doesn't work on you. They learn to respect your boundaries or disappear from your life. Either way, you win. But here's the deeper truth. Maintaining power is also internal. It's about processing betrayal without bitterness, handling disappointment without collapse, facing rejection without desperation. This is the invisible work. No one sees it. No one applauds it. But it's what makes you unbreakable. Because when your internal state is non-negotiable, nothing external can destabilize you. People will sense this. They won't be able to name it, but they'll feel it. You'll walk into a room and the energy will shift, not because you're loud or dominant, but because you're calm, because you're centered, because you're unreachable, and that presence alone becomes a deterrent. People hesitate before testing you. They think twice before provoking you. They respect you without even knowing why. That's the power of maintenance. So every day, ask yourself, did I control my reactions today? Did I maintain my boundaries? Did I reinforce my fortress? If yes, you're winning. If no, adjust and try again tomorrow. This is the work. This is the price. And it's worth every ounce of effort. Drop this in the comments. No one controls me. Let me leave you with this. The man who cannot control his emotions will always serve the one who can. That's not a metaphor. That's reality. The world doesn't reward kindness, explanations, or emotional transparency. It rewards control, it rewards precision, it rewards mastery over self. If you've followed everything in this video, if you've learned to pause before reacting, Replace emotion with strategy. Train your triggers. Control your expressions. Speak minimally. Build your fortress and maintain your power daily. Then you're no longer a target. You're no longer someone who can be played, predicted, or manipulated. You've become the one who sets the rules. The one who decides who has access to your emotions and who doesn't. Your mind is your empire, and it's untouchable. The people who used to test you will notice. They'll sense your shift. They'll respect your silence. They'll hesitate before trying to manipulate you. Because nothing is more intimidating than someone whose internal world cannot be invaded. You don't need to announce this change. You don't need to prove it. Your presence will do the talking. Your calm will do the intimidation. Your restraint will do the teaching. This mastery isn't permanent unless you maintain it. Life will keep testing you. People will keep pushing. Situations will keep challenging you. But now you know how to respond. Not with emotion, not with reaction, but with strategy, discipline, and absolute control. You are psychologically dangerous now, not because you dominate others openly, but because no one can dominate you at all. You're the calm in every storm, the silence in every argument, the fortress no one can breach. Your emotions belong to you, your decisions belong to you, your mind belongs to you, and no one can take that away unless you hand it over. So take this knowledge, apply it relentlessly, guard your reactions, strengthen your fortress, refuse to be controlled. Because when your psychology is yours alone, when your emotions serve only you, when your mind is truly untouchable, you become something most people will never be. Free. If this message hit you, if you felt it, drop that final affirmation in the comments right now. No one controls me. And if you're ready to keep building this version of yourself, make sure you subscribe, because we're just getting started. This is how you become psychologically dangerous. This is how you take back your power. This is how you win. Now go build your fortress.